Hi, girlfriends. Welcome to Girlfriend2Girlfriend. I'm Jabbour. I am the creator and founder of the Girlfriends Club. And I'm just so excited once again to be here with all of you. I just love our chats on Tuesday night. As I call it, we're girlfriending. And without this strong community behind me and all of us, I don't know what I would do, but it certainly makes my world just so much brighter and better. And I've learned so much from each and every one of you. And that's just a perfect segue into our guest this evening. Our mantra here at Girlfriend2Girlfriend and for the Girlfriends Club is paying it forward one girlfriend at a time. And I feel that, in everyone's journey, we've all had the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows of life. And we've all experienced pain and sadness and joy and love and celebrations. But nothing, I think, is closer to every single woman than that of a struggle with their weight. And, whether you want to lose 3 pounds or 30 pounds, or upwards of that. The struggle is real. And my friend Missy is one of the bravest women I know. So please welcome my girlfriend, Missy, who's going to share her journey with us. Here she is. Look at this beautiful woman. Hi there, girlfriend.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Missy is a partner at Kona Elder Law in Long Island, in New York. And she also sits on the board of directors for the Elijah Foundation for Autism. She's a mom of 2 girls, happily married, a wonderful daughter, and just an amazing friend. And I'm really just blown away by your whole journey. So I think if you all had seen some of the posts that I was putting out, you will see that there was a huge transformation that took place. You lost 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'd like to just dial it back a little bit and just start from, when did you really start to feel like you wanted to transform yourself? Was it high school? Was it later? When did this whole thing start? You go.
Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me on. I'm excited. Yeah, so I was always I was a small kid. I was a skinny teenager. I never really had any weight issues growing up. College, definitely, the freshman 15, that kind of thing absolutely happened. But I would go home in the summer and I would, go back to the way I was. And so there was really no major weight issues there. And
can I just interrupt about the freshman 15? Because I think for me, it was the freshman 20.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I always say, peanut butter and jelly was a really good friend because I'd never really had it till I went to college. And we would
really?
Yeah, I know. I've already confronted my mother about it. But I mean, the truth of the matter is all that free eating, right?
Oh, yeah.
And, it's like one big buffet, like one buffet would close, the next one would open.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, the struggle is real just on that front, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're exposed. It's not like it's 3 square meals a day. It's
Right.
like 50 and they're not square.
And what I learned, when I look back at that now also was the late night eating, which is so bad for you, just generally from a weight loss perspective, from a health perspective, even just getting home from work and eating at 7 o'clock, I feel like it's too late, So yeah, we used to eat all night.
24/7. I remember, so I went to an all women's college. So there wasn't really that, pressure that we're, the guys are around or we're in class together. So it was, the uniform was sweats pretty much. So they just grew with you. You never felt anything was tight. But I remember like the late night, Tony's Heroes is here, and it was like, oh my God, we all,
Yeah.
just so that unfortunately that we all have that same foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, all my girlfriends when I was in college, we all went through the same thing, but it never got out of control for us. It was just, like you said, 15, 20 pounds and you lose 15, 20 pounds. Like
Right.
it wasn't that hard to do back then. Then I
Yeah.
went to law school, and you're very sedentary in law school. I mean, unless you're, actively going to look for exercise, which I don't do. You're just pretty much sitting. You're sitting in class, you're studying. I definitely fluctuated, but I met my husband my third year of law school, not in school, but I met him during my third year of law school. And I look at those pictures of us from when we first met, and I'm like, oh, I was still thin then. Like, I don't remember it, but I look at the pictures and I'm like, okay, I was still thin then. And I remember when we got engaged and we were getting married, I joined Weight Watchers and I lost about 40 pounds before our wedding. But I was exactly where I wanted to be when we got married, as far as my weight goes. And then I remember eating our way through our honeymoon. I mean, it was just.
Where'd you go?
Well,
where'd you go to eat?
we spent the first week in Disney World because we are huge Disney fanatics.
Okay.
So we ate our way through Epcot, the whole bit.
Sure.
And then we spent a week in Puerto Rico, just kind of relaxing and drinking and enjoying. And yeah, so it was a lot of,
Well, you were probably active too in Disney, but probably not eating well. And then, you mentioned something like about the drinking. We all forget that those delicious cocktails are just loaded, with hidden calories, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The better they taste, the worse they are. I was just
gonna say, the better the color.
Right. So I guess it was really after that. Like, I was married, we bought our first house, I was working like crazy, and it just started to kind of creep up. But what stands out the most for me was when I got pregnant with our first daughter, who's now 11. She'll be 12 in August. About 2 months in to my pregnancy, my blood pressure went up. And so I went to the cardiologist. The doctor wasn't terribly concerned, but he said, just go get checked out by the cardiologist. And the cardiologist walked into the room and he was gigantic. I mean, belly hanging over the pants, the whole bit. And he says to me, after you have this baby, you need to lose 100 pounds.
And did you say, after I lose this baby, I lose the baby? Gosh, I didn't mean it like that. After I have this baby, you're going to lose 100 pounds.
Right. I looked at my mother and said, we need to find another doctor.
Yeah.
This is not going to work for me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. I did find another doctor who's wonderful. And then I ended up getting diagnosed with gestational diabetes. And they told me, this really has nothing to do with your weight. It's just it happens to pregnant women who are, very, very thin. It's just your body and whatever. But I was taking insulin 5 times a day.
But that must have been so scary because you're worried about the baby. I'm sure, there's so many,
so scary.
Yeah. I mean, tell me about that. I mean, that's like, we're all vessels, right? So what we're putting in, they're receiving. I mean, I felt the same way, like trying to eat, as healthy and being as conscious as possible. But sometimes you have no choice. It just happens.
Right. Well, exactly. Once they gave me that diagnosis, I went to a nutritionist. I was doing the insulin 5 times a day, and I was eating like I ate so much hummus when I was pregnant with my first. I can't even look at it still to this day.
Oh, that's good to know when I see you.
Hummus, peanut butter, strawberries. Like, I had very regimented things. So P.S., when I left the hospital with her, I was 70 pounds lighter than when I got pregnant.
Lighter.
I lost so much weight when I was pregnant with her because I was so careful. And the doctor said to me, I don't care if you're losing weight as long as she's gaining weight. That's all that matters. So we were,
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so we get home, you're down 70 pounds.
70
wow.
pounds. Yep.
And
And
then what
then
happened? Did you nurse? Did you?
I did not.
Okay.
Because I take other medication that I had to start up again after I had
Okay.
her, so I couldn't
Okay.
nurse. But I was home for 6 weeks and then I went back to work and it was busy and crazy. And, you just kind of, I don't like to cook, but
Okay.
you probably know that about me already. So we were always just like, take out, grab this, grab that. And I think that is just like, that's it. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah.
And it just happens. It slowly happens. And you just
Hmm.
buy bigger clothes, you buy bigger clothes, da, da, da.
Well, yeah,
And
we put
then,
Band-Aids on things, right?
mhm,
Those are easy Band-Aids, just go up a size and, oh, there's plenty of time. Oh, I'll lose it. I mean, I've been in those shoes too. I mean, everybody has,
yeah,
to put it on the back burner. And the other thing is, I mean, look, you're busy. We put ourselves last.
right.
You're a new mother. You're not rushing to take care of you. There's so
Oh,
many
right.
other obstacles in the way.
Exactly.
And, you're up and coming in the firm.
Right.
So, okay, so back to you. Go ahead.
Busy, busy. Yeah. No, you're absolutely
But
right.
I feel like, there's so many women out there, they get it. I mean, like the struggle's real. And plus, if you're not a cook or if you don't have a cook at home cooking for you, the hidden salts, all those extras are just jam packed in takeout food.
Right. Absolutely. And then, yeah, so then, there would be like one occasion after the other, and you'd say, oh, I'm going to lose for this, I'm going to lose for that. And it just never happened. And I'll share a very funny story with you. My niece was getting bat mitzvahed, and I had lost some weight. And I was all excited, and I went out and I bought a new dress. And it was like maybe 2 months before. And I got ready, and I mean, you can agree with me or disagree with me, but I think any woman, no matter what her size, has got to throw the Spanx on, right?
Oh,
So,
of course.
we were at the bat mitzvah, and I had my Spanx on and my dress on, and I felt great. And I kept saying to my husband, I am going to, I can't breathe, and I feel so sick, and everything hurts. I can't stand it anymore. And he was like, go take this stupid thing off. Like I was so uncomfortable, and I wear them all the time, right?
Right.
So I said, fine. I went in the bathroom, took it off, whatever.
Burned it.
And I just didn't care. Turns out I was pregnant with my second daughter. So I was like, well, no wonder I felt like I was going to die the whole time.
Wow. So how old
yeah.
was your 11-year-old at the time?
She was 3.
Okay, so pretty close. There you go. So then
it
you're
took
back
us
at
eight-
it,
It took us
ma'am.
8 months to get pregnant with her. So I was like, we should get on this because it's going to take longer. And
Okay.
it took that's it, like this.
Surprise.
Surprise. But it's fine. It's great.
Yeah.
So pregnant with her, went, I kept going to the cardiologist, even though after I had Juliana, my older daughter, my blood sugars went totally back to normal, blood pressure, everything went totally back to normal as far as, medical.
And this is when you were down the 70 pounds.
Right. But even as I gained the weight back, and I'll knock on wood, like I've never had a blood work issue. I've never had cholesterol. I get, I go to the doctor and I get checked out. But I have anxiety. So the blood pressure was always there.
Okay, gotcha.
So I stayed with the cardiologist. So when I got pregnant the second time, I started going back to him, just keeping an eye, and lo and behold, my blood pressure went up again, and they put me on medication again. And, but I didn't get diabetes this time. So if you had diabetes with your first pregnancy and never, ever gave into a craving because you had diabetes, when you have your second pregnancy and you have no diabetes, you not only give in to the cravings, but you make up cravings.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I just ate whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted with my second. And I feel like I could just talk forever. I'm sorry.
No, this is, you're helping women, you're helping everyone out there, because this is a real struggle. This is like, people, they're afraid to say they're closet eaters. Like, look at you. You're like, look, I made up cravings. I get it.
Oh my God, it was terrible.
I'm sure everybody can relate to that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I was 19 weeks pregnant with her. I was out to lunch I was at a business lunch, and I was already, second one, I was already belly and the whole bit.
Right.
And I was driving back to the office from lunch, and I got into a really, really bad car accident. I got T-boned, my car flipped 3 times, jaws of life, whole bit.
Girl.
And yeah, you probably don't know that.
I don't know that.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I was 19 weeks pregnant. By the time they got me out of the car, got me to the hospital, I pretty much in my head thought that I lost the pregnancy because it was so bad. Turns out, thank God, she was fine. But then after that, it was anxiety was like through the roof, right? And I went back to work, but they put me on bed rest pretty soon thereafter, just because they didn't know what was going to be, right?
Of course.
They wanted me to have a normal pregnancy, but it was too hard to figure out. Like my pelvis was separate. It was so.
Wow, I'm so sorry. Huh.
You know what? It's part of who I am, and it's okay. But it's the first thing I did was, this will be a little piece of advice. The first thing I did after I came out of the hospital, because they had me in, I was in ICU for 2 days, and then they kept me in maternity for like 4 days, was get back in the car. I said to my husband, give me the keys. And he said, are you sure? I said, if I don't get back in the car right now, I'm never going to get back in the car. So just give me the keys.
Right.
So I'm so glad that I did that.
That was a big fear to conquer, no doubt.
Yeah, I had to, because I would never be able to do my job or, anything if I wasn't driving. So, but after that happened, my anxiety was through the roof. I had no gestational diabetes. So I was eating whatever. Right. And I remember being on the couch on bed rest, and he would come home from work and he'd be like, did you really eat another like gallon of ice cream? I was just going, like, I would just sit on the couch with a spoon and just eat ice cream all day. Amazing. So by the time I had her, I was like probably my heaviest.
Okay.
At that point, the heaviest I had ever been. And then it just went from there. Now I had 2 kids and my job and everything else. So finally.
How did you feel about yourself? When would you look in the mirror? Were you, afraid to be real with yourself, or were you accepting?
No, I was never accepting. I was very hard on myself. I was very, very hard on myself. I was always unhappy, but put on a happy face. Mm-hmm. The worst part was, doing what I do and, networking and always being out and being dressed and being in pictures. And then I would see them. The picture that you posted that I sent you of the before, mm-hmm. That was actually when our firm won the HIA Small Business Achievement Awards. And that was 1 month, I think, or maybe 3 weeks before my surgery. That was my absolute heaviest. And when I saw that picture, and still to this day, when I see that picture, I get like, I can't even catch my breath because I don't have to.
It's unrecognizable.
Yeah, I don't even remember looking like that.
What? And I remember.
I don't remember looking like that.
The first time meeting you, the folks that I was with, they were like, you look so amazing. They were complimenting you. And then when we left, I was like, what was up? And they're like, oh, you don't understand. There was another person there.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and that's where I was like, oh my gosh. And you're so sincere and so giving with your feelings and what you went through. So here you are, you see yourself and you're like, you're donezo now. Like now you're trying to figure out, do you do surgery? Do you do Weight Watchers? Like, or was there not even a question? It was
No,
surgery.
There was. I was terrified of doing surgery. Never even in my wildest dreams did I even think I would get there. But I had done everything. I did liquid diets. I did Weight Watchers. I did Jenny Craig. You name it, I did it. Just like everybody who's probably listening to this right now.
Right.
That's what we
Yeah.
did. We cycle through and, oh, this one will be better. No, this one will be better. And each time I gained it back plus, right?
Okay.
So I finally said to my mom one day, I think I want to find out about the surgery. And she said, okay, you know, I'll go with you. And so we did. And yeah, I met with the surgeon, who was amazing. And they gave me this like packet of what I had to do in order to have the surgery. Okay.
Like what?
I had to have every part of my body examined. I mean, literally, like,
I believe you.
Endoscopy, colonoscopy, cardiology. I had to go to a psychiatrist. I mean, everything. And I just said, you know what? I'm doing this. And I had it all done in 2 weeks. I had it all done.
Oh.
And then I had to wait for the insurance approval. And I just said to my mother, I'm going to keep calling them until they just put it through, because they don't want to hear from me anymore. And that's what I did.
Nice approach.
May have something to do with the lawyer in me.
So if you don't mind me asking, so, you know, is this surgery commonly covered, or is there a fight associated?
So it's very interesting that's a good question. So, in looking at the insurance policy, you would think that it was not covered. And that is why so many people go to Mexico for the surgery. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't, but I'm intrigued.
There's a clinic, or whatever you want to call it, in Mexico. And I met somebody through this whole process who had the surgery done there. And, you know, she said it was amazing. Like, they pick you up from the airport, they take you, it's like a resort, right? Because you're going to be there for a couple of weeks, and they do the surgery there, and
Right.
they bring you your food, and they do the whole thing. And, but I was like, there is no way I could do that. I mean, I just can't
leave the country.
So I ended up finding a little bit of a loophole in my insurance policy, and I was able to get covered.
And what was that?
I can't even remember what the language was, but I called the surgeon and I said, this is what the language says about bariatric surgery. Like, what you needed to kind of qualify to be covered. And so it turned out that they approved it for coverage.
Amazing.
So, and what I learned, because I got, friendly with the doctor, was that he was in the process of bringing an action against a lot of different insurance companies, because they are still looking at this as a cosmetic thing, when really, I mean, people who have diabetes don't have it anymore after they have the surgery. I mean, that's not cosmetic, right?
Right.
So,
wow. So that's huge information.
Yeah.
So check your insurance policies, because you just don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially for health reasons. So I'm envisioning that picture of you. I'm envisioning you going to the doctors. You get all of your tests done. You're cleared for surgery.
I'm cleared for surgery, and
how's your anxiety?
Actually, by that point, I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm ready. And but interestingly, my last appointment right before my surgery, my blood work, my A1C, which is the test that measures your blood sugar over like a 3-month period, and that's how they diagnose you with diabetes, was now I'm gonna mess up the numbers, but it was 0.1 under the number that they diagnosed you with diabetes. Like, I was right there.
Wow. Okay.
And it was crazy. Like, they said to me, if you were 0.1 higher, we wouldn't.
You couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it yet. Like, you would have to, So
manage it. Yeah.
Prior to the surgery, it was 17 days of liquid diet, 17 days of only liquid, because you have to shrink your liver. Your liver most people who are overweight have a fatty liver, and it gets in the way of the stomach, so they can't do the surgery. So you have to do this liquid diet beforehand to shrink your liver. So I did 17 days of liquid only, which was crazy.
I'm assuming there was no wine involved in that.
Not that kind of liquid, no.
I'm just literally having fun.
They were like protein shakes, you know,
Sure,
and
of course.
it was fine. It was
You were
doable.
getting nutrition. It was
Yeah.
just liquid. Yeah.
Yeah. And
How much weight did you lose at that point? I mean,
I lost
prior to
about
going,
20 pounds in
holy
those
crumb.
17 days. Yeah.
So I'm just so eager to know, you come out of the surgery. Are you lighter right away?
No, not at all.
Okay.
As a
So
matter of
they,
fact, I gained weight,
oh,
which is apparently very common, but they don't really tell you that.
okay. So, all right, let's get to the surgery. So you go in for the surgery,
So
you
I go
know
in,
about it, right? Because obviously your surgeon has gone through all the, the
yeah.
whole 411 with you.
And
Wake
it was
up
literally like my husband told me afterwards, I had the surgery at St. Francis, which was
right.
absolutely phenomenal. But my husband told me that the surgeon came out on the dot every 45 minutes to talk to another family. He told me probably about 15 or 16 surgeries that day.
Holy,
Just boom, boom, boom.
okay.
Okay.
Wow, God.
So I was early, thank goodness. I was like,
Now,
I want
did you have to stay in the hospital? And
one
then
night,
just one night.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you come home, you have your lap band. You're not living La Vida Loca yet.
I actually didn't have a lap band. I had the sleeve surgery.
I'm sorry. That's what I meant. The sleeve.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay.
The sleeve. Yeah.
Yeah. So the sleeve surgery is, a lot of people think, and I did too, that they put something over your stomach, like a sleeve.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not what they do. They like lop off. If you see a picture of your stomach, it's like like a tube with like a lobe on it, almost like it looks like a lung almost. They lop that off. So your stomach is now just a straight tube. So you have a much smaller stomach. It's about 90% smaller.
90.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So every surgeon's different, but they want you eating before you leave. They want you eating actual food, like cottage cheese. So that was my first meal, was a tablespoon of cottage cheese, and I could barely eat the whole thing. So that's what it was like for the first probably 3 or 4 months.
And then you were down 100 pounds in how much time?
My surgery was October of 2018, and by July of 2019, I was down 100 pounds.
Wow, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, yeah.
So where are you now in your journey? Do you still see your physician? Or your surgeon? Do you go for checkups?
No.
Okay.
Once you go, and for the first year, you go once a month to the surgeon. And they weigh you, they talk to you, they check to make sure there's no issues. And I actually, the girl that was in the room with me, we became friendly and we kind of stayed friends, but she had a miserable time. She was like, I hate you, because I was like, it's time to go for a walk. Let's go. Making my laps around the hospital. I was so happy. And she was like in agony. I felt so bad for her. But we stayed friendly. And so I came home, and it was, I followed a very strict, I could barely even remember. It was like hummus again,
okay,
cottage cheese, and like that consistency was really all you could have for the first month. And I was
tablespoons at a time, or did the portions get like bigger?
The most I would have is like maybe 2 ounces of cottage cheese at a meal.
Okay.
And I was at an awards night, and it might have been an LIBN awards. I don't remember what it was, but it was at Crest Hollow. And my surgeon was there.
Oh.
His sister-in-law was getting
honored.
One of the, I think it was like a top 50 women or something. And Jennifer, my managing partner, was there. And he was there, and he walked over to me, and I had my little Tupperware with my hummus. But so that was, and then they started, hard scrambled eggs, and then you kind of work. So
just a progression.
Yeah.
So are you eating normal now? Can you have like a slice of pizza?
Pizza's tough. If I eat a slice of pizza, I can just eat the pizza. I can't eat the crust. I'm full after just you know.
Wow, that is, it's just incredible to me. So on your journey now, where are you? Are you at your happy weight? Are you
No,
constantly?
I am not.
Okay.
I am not. I put on, I don't even know number wise. I did put back some weight really starting with the quarantine a year
Okay,
ago.
of course.
Just like a lot of people.
Yes.
You know, I'm sitting here in my office at home right before quarantine. My husband and I bought a new house and we had this extra room, and I said, let's make an office. We'll each have our own desks, because in our old house, the office was one desk for both of us, and it served as a million other things too. Like I did my
Of
makeup
course.
there, and you know. So I was like, let's just get two desks so we can keep our stuff separate, and da da da. And I'll be in here when I need to be, and you'll be in here when you need to be. And within like 3 weeks, we were in here together
All the time.
all day.
Yeah.
And the kids were home remote, and my husband would, you know, go food shopping. He was like the one who went out, right? There was only one person who was allowed to leave the house.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like when you had a snow day, right? He would come home with brownies and this and that, and let's bake with the kids, and because nobody, you know, nobody thought.
What else are we doing? What else are we doing?
Right. So I definitely put on just like, but like a regular person puts on, not like, you know.
You didn't put on 100 pounds.
Right. Right.
So you're cutting back now.
Yeah.
I have a question from someone. They asked, do you exercise?
No.
Okay.
I would love to.
She wants to know if you did it all during your recovery or post recovery.
No.
Okay.
Not at all. I'm so not an exercise person.
And then the other part to the question is, did they encourage you to exercise or discourage you to exercise?
You know, after a certain point, because it's surgery, right? Even though it's laparoscopic, but after a certain point, yes, they encouraged you to start walking and things like that. But I just, you know, in all honesty, if I wanted to find time to exercise, it would either be at 4 a.m. or, you know, 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
After a day
I know.
of work.
You gotta figure that out. I get it. I know. I mean, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
So how are you? I know we're like way over time here, but I want to just ask this last question before we say goodbye.
Okay.
How are you dealing with your diet now? And do you have a goal in mind? You know, let us, you know, what's the scoop there?
So when I was at my lowest weight, I still wasn't at where I wanted to be. I still wanted to lose some more.
Okay.
So right now I have my own goal. I'm going to be 45 in September, and I would like to lose 45 pounds by then. And then that would be my happy place.
Okay. So when's your birthday?
September 9th.
Okay. So that week you have to come back.
Okay. I will do it. That'll keep me honest.
And you'll have to tell us, you know, what it was like. So today is, no, it's almost, what's today, the 23rd? So
yeah, it's almost April.
It's almost exactly, 5 months away.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough goal. That's 9 pounds a month, right? So I have all faith in you. I think you're remarkable.
Thank you.
I don't think it's easy to make this decision. And I think it's even harder to stick with it. You know, having a leadership position and you're out there in the public eye, people have watched you, they admire you. I know, you know, since we're in business in the same business region, I know that people remark at how dedicated you are. Oh, and I think that's wonderful. So aside from being a beautiful woman and a beautiful person, you know, you're making a difference for yourself. And I admire that so much, because your health, you can't go buy it.
Nope, you can't
go buy it.
My dad always says it's in a dress rehearsal.
That's right. We're in it, baby. This is Hollywood.
This is it.
This is it. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I will invite anyone from that's tuning in. If you have any questions, just drop it right into the news feed and we'll get back to you post this program. And Missy, I just want to thank you so much. And I'll be watching from afar on Facebook to see how you're doing.
All right.
And And I can't wait to have you back in September.
Me too. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thanks
And
so
for
much.
everyone out there, next week we have Michelle Gatson-Williams. She's the author of Climb, and she's also a partner at BlackRock, and she's got a lot of scoop, and she's going to spill a lot of tea about diversity, inclusion, marriage, divorce. We're going to get down and dirty with Michelle. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you, Missy. And I'll see you
Thank
next week.
you.
You'll be tuning in, right?
I will. That's a great book,
Okay.
Climb. I love that book.
Okay. Thank you.
All
All right, everyone. Good night. Be well. Bye.
Good night.